everybody. Hello there, people. Welcome to the replay for those of you who are joining me on the replay. And welcome to the live for those of you who are joining me on the live. Let's all take a moment to share while we are here. And as you come on, please let me know in the comments who you are, where you're watching from, and what brought you here today. So let me go ahead and take a moment to share on my pages. I ask that you do the same. Hey y'all, I see y'all coming on. Hey, 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 I'm just sharing over here on my page, so I'm gonna ask that you do the same on yours. I'm really low, Adrian? That's weird. So maybe if I unplug my headphones, that might be better. Can y'all hear me now? Is that better? My headphones have been acting funny lately, so maybe it's time for me to get some new ones. Let me know if that's better. I just took them out. Is that better? Is that better? Awesome sauce. Thank you. So I'll just go without the headphones today. So what I was saying was, hey, thank y'all for coming on and hanging out with me today. I am going to take a moment to share on my page. So I ask that you all do the same. And while you are coming on, if you will make sure you say hey. So I see the people, but I can't see who's on if you don't comment. So if you'll go ahead and say hello, let me know where you are watching from, and also let me know what brought you here to hang out with me today. All right. So let me go ahead and share this. I don't multitask well, so give me un momento, okay? Because I want to make sure everybody that wants to be here is able to be here. All right, so I shared. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so I see you, Shanika, Jennifer, Tanya, Arlette. Is it still live? What's going on? Is the internet being a hater? Y'all, the internet be hating on me, and the internet sometimes runs the interference with stuff. So hopefully that's better. I don't think I have anything in the background that is preventing my volume. So hopefully it'll be better. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Y'all let me know because I definitely need to make sure that this message gets out. So again, if you will, do me a favor. Let me know what brought you to hang out with me today for this little talk. Hey, Bianca, thank you. Let me know what brought you here today. Okay, thank you, Tanya. Now, if you all were on last week, we came and we talked a little bit about boundaries, right? If you did not have a chance to check out the live on boundaries last week, I highly recommend that you do it because there's still a lot going on. Hey, Aisha, and there is the it's still applicable and it's gonna always be applicable, right? So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, make sure you go to my page and you check that one out. I currently have it pinned at the top of the page, but after I finish this, I'm gonna pin this one. But you can always find it in the live videos. Um, so go check that one out because it really illuminates why we need boundaries, what they are, what that looks like, what have you. So again, as you all are coming on, if you will let me know what brought you here today so that I can make sure I focus what I'm talking about for you. I definitely believe in you getting everything that you can out of any experience that you choose to invest time in. So I want to make sure that I'm talking directly to the things that you need to hear and get out of what we are doing today. So Aisha says she's trying to figure out how to focus all this energy that she has, and Tanya says to clear her mind and help to refocus on purpose. Yeah. So I think with everything that's going on, we have definitely, some of us, our minds are very cloudy, right? And I say us because it's like that for me as well. So I definitely, through this process, this is a process of refocusing for me as well, because it's so easy to um, get distracted and caught up with everything that's going on, which rightfully so. It's a lot that's happening, but there's purpose for all of us within this situation. So we definitely want to make sure that we are um, kind of wrapping our minds around what our role looks like and everything, right? So again, I talked about last week, I talked about boundaries, and a part of that we talked about is what is our role in the fight and what is our role in everything that's going on right now. So I felt after that live that we really needed to have more targeted discussion about what our role looks like, and how it specifically relates to each and every one of us, of how we're supposed to operate in this world. So I don't know about you, but I understand that everything that I do is a ministry opportunity for me. So when I say ministry, is that I am called to amplify God's voice in the large kingdom, right? So not necessarily church specific or even a particular religion or what have you, but I know that my purpose is to truly is to amplify God's voice, right? So knowing that, then I can put that lens over everything it is that I want to do, because I know that that's my purpose, right? So Jennifer says, I came to learn more and focus all the negative energy. I've been trying to reestablish purpose working with my therapist lately. I feel very lost. I just feel lost. Heather says, I want to know how to live in your purpose without being intimidated by it. That's good, Heather. Shanika says, clear my mind, be able to focus after all that is going on. Perfect. So we are all in the right place, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is I want to read something to you all, and I'll share where I'm reading this from towards the end, because I have like a really exciting announcement that I want to share with you all, and I'm super excited. So I have a lot of energy. I'm trying to focus too, because there's just so much going on. But God is in the midst of everything, so everything is all good. So anyway, let me focus. Okay, so I want to share something with you. All right, so take a trip with me to Home Depot. Maybe let's not go to Home Depot. Maybe let's go to Lowe's. I probably want to change that. Take a trip with me to Lowe's. We are going to buy some light bulbs. Imagine yourself on the aisle with me. Can you see it? Light bulbs are on every shelf. Some have big tops and little bottoms. Others are long and skinny. Some are LED. Some are fluorescent. Others are energy saving, while some are incandescent. As we walk down the aisle, we are looking for a particular type of light bulb. Once we find that light bulb, we make our purchase and we leave. What is the point of this story, you ask? Consider the fact that you are a light bulb. Your purpose is to bring light into this world. The design of your light bulb is intentional because your light bulb serves a particular purpose. You are meant to light up a specific place. You will not bring light if you are screwed into the wrong socket, no matter how hard you try. There is a socket that is specially designed for you. Once you find that socket, you will shine as brightly as you were created to, fulfilling your remarkable and exceptional destiny. I want you all to tell me what you get out of what I just read about that light bulb story. So, what did you get out of that? Hey, Teresa. Hey, Shalita. Hey, Trisha. Tell me what you got out of that light bulb story I just read. What did that say to you? So I can't take credit for that passage that I just read. It actually comes from one of my acting coaches that I met some years ago, and she was talking to us about our purpose and understanding what our purpose looked like. So it was very powerful for me, and it really left an impression with me, so much so that I wanted to share it with you here today. So Tanya said, all are different with the purpose of shining our own light. Yes. So I live in Tampa currently, and this is not for me to beat up Tampa, but I'm here to speak my truth, right? Ooh, Heather says my purpose will make room for me and be the perfect fit. Yes, everyone's purpose is going to be different. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, so here in Tampa, I'm originally from New Orleans, and in New Orleans, there was just a very different culture of how women interacted with each other, right? Now, this could have been because I was young, right? So I left New Orleans when I graduated from high school, and then I moved to Nashville, and then I moved here to Tampa. But one of the things that I've found consistently here in Tampa is that women don't work well together. Now, this is not an isolated woman thing, but I'm here to talk to women because I am one. So that's the only way that I know how to relate. But women don't work well together. There's a very competitive spirit. And we've seen this across our nation, and there are different places, right? And you all may be able to testify to the same type of thing happening in Riley or happening elsewhere, but it's always very off-putting for me because I just don't subscribe to that particular type of thinking. I come from the camp of if I win, everybody connected to me wins. So I'm always looking for an opportunity to spread the wealth and to make sure that everybody is going in the same direction, right? So if we're all like-minded, then there's room for everybody. So to what you all are putting in the comments about this socket, Tanya said, if we try to place ourselves in someone else's socket, we won't do what we were designed to do. We won't work. Yes. So when we're talking about purpose, each of us has a unique purpose, right? I cannot take your purpose and you cannot take mine. So you know how people always say, "Was what God has for me is for me," right? What is meant for me is for me, and I truly and wholeheartedly believe that. And I also believe that there's room for everybody to win in this fight of life because each of us has a unique lane that we are supposed to operate in. So it's really important for me to encourage people to find what that unique lane looks like so that you stop focusing on everybody else's lane and hating on other people and really exhibiting this crab in a barrel or bucket type of syndrome because it really doesn't need to happen because I have a particular socket that I'm supposed to be screwed into. And if you try to screw into my socket, it's not gonna work. If I try to screw into your socket, it's not gonna work, right? So I think when we wrap our minds around that, it really helps us to refocus on what we are supposed to do and what we are called to do without getting distracted by somebody else. So then I can be excited that I'm on the shelf, right? So we go back to Lowe's and we're on this light bulb aisle, right? And we see all of these light bulbs. If I'm on the shelf, that means there's a customer that's coming to buy me. It might not be that customer that particular day, but somebody is coming because I'm on the shelf. So, and then when we think about the design of these particular light bulbs, right? Um, Adrian, thank you. I'm glad that it's not just me. She says she's experienced this also in the workplace, right? So good. I'm glad it's not just me because I don't want to be dragging Tampa over the coals. They've been good-ish to me since I've been here, but it's just something that I've seen. So when we think about again the when I was reading the excerpt about the different design of the light bulbs, right? So for instance, my lighting that I have right here, these are energy efficient lights. And then you can see over my shoulder, right? I have my light that lights up my living room area. I also have some lights on the banister here, and they give like some ambient lighting if I don't want to turn on the big light, right? There are all of these different types of light bulbs that serve particular purposes for particular times. I don't use these lights to light my kitchen. The only time I use these lights is with the purpose of coming to talk to you or doing one of my shows, right? I use this ambient lighting behind me when I don't want to turn on the big light. I just need a soft light, right? There, it all has a purpose, okay? So, I want us to think about our unique design. All right. So, what I want you to do for me is to, in your mind, hey, Miss Dylan. Oh my God. I'm so glad you're here. Um, that got me distracted. So, side note, I need y'all to go to my page. I did like a blog post, and y'all know I really don't like to write, but I was so overwhelmed. So Miss Dillon is my high school guidance counselor, and she is just everything. And I've been waiting like 17 years to tell her how much she means to me, and she's on. Totally. Okay. So anyway, so refocus. All right. So what I want y'all to do is to drop in the comments for me 5 words that people use to describe you. Okay. 5 words that people use to describe you. And this could be words that you use to describe yourself. It could be, or it could be words that other people use. It could be a combination of the two. All right. But I want you to think in your mind about 5 words that people would use to describe you. All right. So I'll give you just a second to drop those in the comments because we want to talk about those words. All right. 5 words. 5 is a lot for some of us, but 5. So I'll wait. I'm still here, Tanya. 5 words, Aisha. Whatever that means to you. Pick 5. Aisha's a fellow educator. She's trying to make sure that she gets the question right. There is no right or wrong answer. Just 5 words that people use to describe you, that you use to describe yourself, or a combination of the two. I think I want to change a couple of mine. So let me. All right, I see them rolling in. All right, I'm gonna drop mine in the comments too, so y'all can see. Okay. These are some good words, y'all. All right, so I'm gonna start sharing some of them. Okay. So Teresa said, laid back, beautiful, strong, encouraging, hardworking. Jennifer Jennifer said, kind, smart, creative, caring, ambitious. Trisha says, professional, independent, kind, self-sufficient, and spontaneous. Desiree says, sweet, loving, amazing, dingy, and helpful. Bianca says, loyal, strong, hardworking, transparent, and petty. I'm going to get back to mine in a second. Heather said, kind, patient, focused, quiet, and wise. Arlette said, funny, sarcastic, encouraging, introverted, and helpful. Roderick says, nonchalant. All right? So, the 5 words that I chose were bold, inspirational, loud, standoffish, and honest. Okay? So these are my 5 words. Now, Aisha asked the question about were these supposed to be positive words or negative words, right? And I'm just like, words, okay? Just words. Because this is the thing that I know about all of us, and I feel very confident in saying this. One is that, oh, silly, great. Thanks, Desiree, for clarifying that. So, one of the things is that words have power, right? So, when we were kids, we used to say stuff like, what was the thing? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie, okay? Words have power, and it is okay to acknowledge that words have power because they do. Um, so we kind of need to throw that out, right? It was well intentioned, but it's not really true because some of us have words that people have said to us and spoken over us that have stayed with us our entire lives. Right, so I know that there were words that I used to hear spoken over me when I was a child in my home that I have worked my whole life to eradicate those words and divorce myself from those words, right? So words have a lot of power. But the other thing that I know is that words have context, but words also can have alternate meanings, right? So there are these things called synonyms. Now, let me tell y'all, my degree is in biology, okay? So I'm not even about to sit up here and act like I really, like, am a language arts teacher because I'm not. But I know a little something, something. So there are things called synonyms, right? And this is some of the work that I do in education with my students and parents because we take words and we place words on people and with a particular intention. But if I look deeper into what is truly behind those words, I may find that that's not really the best word to use to describe the situation. That person just decided to use a word with a negative connotation to describe me. So I'll give you an example. I'll use myself as an example. So one of the words that I use to describe myself is loud. Now, I am. I'm loud. And I'm okay with that because in my loudness, it's really because I'm super passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. So if someone calls me loud, I'm like, that's fine. What it really is passionate. And I have another word to use to reshape and reframe what they're trying to place upon me, right? Or a word that I didn't put down that I've been called often is what's the word that they would call me? Um, it's not aggressive. Intimidating. That's what it is. Intimidating. So I've been called intimidating by many people, right? And I notice that there's a pattern often in who calls me intimidating. But that's another lie for another time. But I've been called intimidating. And what I know is just because someone is intimidated by me does not mean that I am being intimidating. Those are two completely different things, right? So if someone calls me intimidating, I have enough and know enough about who I am to be able to say, I'm not being intimidating. I have simply been direct in my communication. I've been assertive in what it is that I had to say. And because of my confidence, you are intimidated. So you need to own that. Right? I don't have to own the fact that you feel intimidated by what I am saying, right? So the reason I asked y'all to put these words into the chat is because one, I don't know when the last time you've ever thought about it, and I feel like it's a great exercise for you to do. But two, I want you to see how you identify yourself or how you have allowed other people to identify who you are, and which of these words do you need to reshape and reframe, right? Because the way that we were created, so God created us very intentionally, right? We are not accidents, we are not mistakes. Like, God wasn't like, oops, dang, I messed that one up. Like, He definitely, when He made us, said, this is good. Like, he patted himself on the back, like, your boy did that. Okay, this is good, right? So everything that is in us is purposeful. Every single way that we operate, the way that we think, the way that we process information, the way that we communicate, all the way down to the physical features that we have, is all purposeful. None of it was an accident. Okay, so if someone says that, let me find a word. Okay, let's go with Aisha's right here, an overthinker. Like, someone says to you that you are an overthinker, and they try to say that to you in a negative light. If that sounds like, because I get that sometimes too, like, you just always overthinking stuff and you're so logical and blah, 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 blah. Well, I would submit to you that we probably need people who should think through things, right? We can't all be out here operating willy nilly. Like, that's not gonna work, okay? So there's a place for someone who can think through every piece of the process and be what's called detail oriented, right? And intentional in what they are doing. There's a place. We need people who do that, right? Taisha says she gets that she's doing too much or she's extra, right? But then I submit to you that there have to be people who can capture people's attention, right? And sometimes the doing too much and the extra is the way that I need to capture your attention, because it's something important that we need to pay attention to over here. Yo, I need you to pay attention to this, right? So my extraness and my doing too much is purposeful in that process. Okay, y'all following me? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So when we're thinking about the way that we were designed and how God created us to be, is directly linked to our gifts and our talents, right? Is directly linked to the unique things that God has placed inside of us that He wants us to illuminate for the good of the group, right? Now, what happens is when people have made us think that these characteristics that we have are negative, we then decide that we're going to shrink, right? We're going to not try to be so extra, right? I'm going to not try to be so loud. Or, people call me standoffish when it's really that I'm super observant and I'm using my spirit of discernment to discern spirits. That's really what's happening, because I'm not standoffish at all. But I also don't interact with everybody because everybody's spirit ain't right. Okay. So, but you have to know how to reshape what is happening so that you don't try to minimize whatever that gift is that you have in you, because God put it there on purpose. There's a reason that He created you this way. There's a reason that He needs you to be how He created you to be, because there's a specific type of person that you're called to. There's a specific type of person that needs to hear things the way that you put it, so that they can get to where they're supposed to go, right? So all of our purposes are interrelated and interconnected in the fact that there are people that are waiting for you to get to where you need to go so that they could get to where they need to go. Okay. So I want to read something to y'all. Hold on. I want to read this um this scripture. Okay, let me see. Let me start with this one. So there is a story in the Bible, and it's about the talents, right? Where the master gives a servant one talent, gives another servant 5 talents, gives another servant 10 talents, right? So he sends them out and tells them to go out with their talents, right? So 5,000. Oh, I lied. It's 5,000, 2,000, and 1,000. Okay. So what happens is the master sends these servants out and says, go and do something with these talents. So the one that was given $5,000 comes back to the master and says, look, I doubled my investment, right? So the master says, excellent, good job. Now let's work together. The servant that had 2,000 came back to the master, said, look, I doubled my investment. So the master is like, good job, let's work together. The servant that had 1,000 came back and said, master, I didn't want to disappoint you. I was scared that I might mess this up. So what I did is I just put it away, and I buried it in a hole, and I hid it, because I knew that you would want your money. You wouldn't want me to lose it, so I hid it away, right? So it says the master was furious. He says that's a terrible way to live. It's criminal to live cautiously like that. If you knew I was after the best, why did you do less than the least? The least you could have done would have been to invest the sum with the bankers, where at least I would have gotten a little interest. He took that 1,000 and gave it to the one who risked the most, and said, get rid of the one who was playing it safe and didn't want to go out on a limb. Okay? Oh, what's the scripture? We in church, y'all. This is Matthew 25:14 through 30. Sorry, I had a moment. So Matthew 25:14 through 30 is the scripture that I was reading from. So it's the parable of the talents, right? Okay, so how does that relate to purpose, right? So each of us has been given a purpose, right? So just a moment ago, I was saying that some of us have been conditioned to believe that there are things that we need to minimize within ourselves. So what we do is we hide and we bury these talents, right? So then, if God were to call us up and be like, hey, yo, what you did with them talents I gave you? Some of us, the only thing that we could say is, Lord, I ain't want to be out here like making people feel some type of way. So, I ain't do nothing because, I don't want people to be offended. While God is like, girl, I gave you them talents so you could go out there and do what I asked you to do with these talents. Like, what is happening right now? Right? So, when we're thinking about our gifts and we're thinking about the way that God has designed us, our job is to, y'all see my shirt? It says, be bold, be fearless, right? You can purchase these, by the way. Hey. But anyway, so our job is to be bold and fearless in what God has given us and what God has blessed us with, and not to shrink that and hide that in order to make other people feel comfortable. In the world right now of everything that is going on, many of us are tired of being silent and making people feel comfortable in their complicity of foolishness, right? But we have to have that same type of boldness and um, that same type of energy when we're talking about the things that we're called to do, right? We have to have that same um, level of care or that same level of disruption in what God has called us to do, because we are called to disrupt the way that people operate in the world. So I'm glad some of y'all are commenting and saying, yes, Tanya, you can get a shirt. Actually, if you go to my website, you go to join the movement, and then you can get you a shirt. So I'll put all that in the comments for you. Okay. Um, so Erica Desiree said, I really don't know my talents. I'm so glad that you said that, right? Because a part of knowing those talents is uncovering those talents, right? So this kind of leads me over to some of the work that I do. And this is not a commercial, but it'll be a commercial, right? So the work that I do, I'm a life coach for any of you all that did not know. And a part of the work that I do in my life coaching is to help people to discover their destiny. So the excerpt that I was reading to you all about the light bulb comes out of my workbook that I made. And I just got y'all this morning. Oh my God. I got the proof for my new workbook. So here it is, Discover Your Destiny. And inside of it, there are activities and things that you can do to discover who you are. And I'm so excited about it, y'all. Like, I can't even, like, I'm trying to keep it together. But I am so excited about it because it's an 8-week process that takes you through the discovery of how God created you. And the first module is about who you are. Who are you? How did God make you? So, taking assessments with your spiritual gifts, like identifying your spiritual gifts and identifying your fivefold ministry giftings, right? Understanding your personality traits, right? So, all of these things, those things are not like me things. These are things that are out on the internet. But what I do is really help to align for you to understand how you are created, right? So I'll give you an example. So I have my fivefold gifting is prophecy, right? Well, I have two. So I have prophecy and I have an apostolic calling, right? And I discovered this through this process of discover your destiny. Like I did this before I wrote this, right? And this is where this is how all of this came together because this is the process I took myself through to be able to understand who I am because I was out here tripping. Like I didn't know what was wrong with me. I like had to get my life together, right? So this was my get my life together program. But anyway, so I discovered that I have the gift of prophecy and I have an apostolic call, right? So what would happen? Like I have very vivid dreams, right? I'll meet people and some of you all have experienced this. Like I'll be talking to you about something and I'll plan your whole life out. Like I'll be like, girl, so when you about to get that website up and do the things and do the whatevers and whatever, right? Because God just puts it in my spirit, right? Now, while prophecy can be really fun, and it makes you feel like you're like making predictions and all that kind of stuff for people, it's also not fun because you also get charged with telling people the stuff that they don't want to hear. No fun at all. So me and God be up in here straight boxing because I be like, I'm not about to tell them that. And God be like, I bet you will. And I be like, I'm not. And he be like, yes, you will. And I be like, I don't care what you got to say. I ain't doing it, right? And I never win. But I don't want to do it. Like I just don't want to do it. But I understand that it's a part of my purpose, right? So along with the gift of prophecy is being very black and white about things. And any of y'all that know me know there is very little gray. Like I'm either here or here. I don't spend too much time up in here. Like things are very black and white. Another characteristic of a prophet is that they just speak, right? They just say the things, and it's not really sugar coated. Like you just kind of put it out there, like this is what it is. So what I had to learn because people would call me rude or they would say, like I said, I'm aggressive, I'm intimidating, all of that. So what I had to learn is God designed me that way, right? So He designed me to be a prophet in spaces. He designed me to say the things that nobody else wants to say. But I also had to learn how not to misuse that gift. So the second module that I have is who do you want to avoid being, right? So the first is who am I, right? So I need to know these things about myself. But then the second step is now that I know this, what are the misuses of my gift that I want to make sure that I don't do so it doesn't come off the wrong way? Because people still have to be able to receive what it is that I'm saying, right? So when you all are saying you're not quite sure of your gifts, there's work that has to be done there because God has designed, like everybody has gifts, every last one of us. Some of us have like this many gifts, some of us have this many gifts, but whatever, you have gifts and you have talents. It's just a matter of you taking the time to uncover those gifts and talents. And, that's the work that I do with my clients. So, I said all that to say, I really want us to be intentional about one, being aware of the labels that people try to place on us that we don't need to pick up. My mom used to say, just because somebody puts something at your front door doesn't mean that you have to pick it up and bring it inside. Okay. So just because somebody says something about you does not mean that you have to then take that, put it on the t-shirt and wear it. Also, that how can you flip what someone has said about you so that you don't take the negative aspects of that characteristic and make it your own, and that you really tap into the purposeful part of it, so that you can truly understand how that is to be used in ministry, right? Um, Daisha said a lot of that work is uncovered when you spend time alone. Yes, It is, right? And sometimes we have to intentionally spend time alone so that we are able to really get to the root of who God created us to be and really understand. Now, earlier, the comment has disappeared, but earlier somebody said, I want to know how not to be afraid of the gift that God has placed inside of me, right? So I told y'all I would tell y'all my secret on how I do that, right? So did I tell y'all how I be asking God for emails? Did I ever share that with you all? So one of the things that I do, so me and God being here, like that's my homeboy, right? So we just be talking, like I really be talking, like I'm talking to y'all right now, and I be like, look, Lord, so look, you had told me, I'll use an example. When I went to go be a teacher, right? I never thought I was gonna be a teacher, y'all, ever. That was not my life's goal at all. Okay. So I was here in Tampa, Florida. I had moved here to Tampa when I graduated from Fisk. And I was a manager at Walgreens, right? Which I knew that wasn't my final destination. I was actually about to enroll in grad school to study pathogenic microbiology. And then I was like, my brain is tired. Okay, I do not want to think anymore. I'm over it. So let me just go over here to this Walgreens and work for a little bit. Like I was tired. Okay. So I'm working for Walgreens for some years, maybe I think it was 2.5 years at the time. And I see a commercial on TV. And on the commercial, they say, we're looking for teachers. We need like critical need areas, math and science, whatever. And I was like, who about to be out here teaching kids? Not Kimberly Jackson. That's not who's about to do that. I can't even, right? So I go to sleep. I don't think nothing about the commercial. Like I'm about to go to sleep, right? Could not sleep that night. I'm tossing and turning all night long. Where would I teach? Who would I teach? Yeah. So then I woke up that morning and I was like, Lord, you want your girl to go out here and be a teacher? What? You got to be kidding me, right? And everything just fell into place from there, right? Because by then I kind of understood like God's voice, right? But I have always asked God for clear signs like that, because your girl be tripping. Like I really be tripping, and sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if this me or this God, or like I don't know. So I'll be like, God, can you send me an email? Can you tell me very clearly what it is that you want me to do, right? Now, I don't get emails that like say from God to Kimberly, right? But it's always a pop up or a commercial or something like that, right? So, because of that, when that happens, I'm very clear that this is what God wants me to do, not that this is something that I'm choosing to do, right? So that's the first thing, is asking God for very clear understanding, confirmation. And that confirmation can come through people, it can come through like a commercial, it can come through a pop-up on the computer. I get them all the time. Or you might see things flash in front of your face. You might have dreams, you might be having a conversation with somebody and they say something and you're like, why did you say that to me, right? So it can come in a variety of different ways. So the first thing that I do is I still myself so that I could hear what the Lord is saying, okay? So Erica, but I'm so serious. She said the email always cracks her up. I'm dead serious though, like, and I've shared this with her many times. Like, I really be like, can your girl get an email? Okay, so that's the first thing I do. But then the second thing that I do is I put everything that I'm doing behind God, right? So it's like, this is God and this is me back here, like, all right, Lord, tell me what you want me to do. Because what I recognize is that this is His mission. Like, I did not wake up and say I wanted to do this. In regards to teaching, I never woke up and said that I wanted to do it. In regards to me doing this, y'all, I've been fighting with God about this for like 3 years, real talk. Like, God has been like, girl, if you don't get your behind on that camera and talk to these people and tell these people what I told you to say. And I was like, I am not doing that, right? Like, I'm not doing it. As y'all see, I lost. But I fought a good fight for 3 years. I was like, I'm not about to do that. Like, why would people even listen to me? Like, I be out here winging it, Lord. Like, why would the people be listening to me? And God was like, girl, I have blessed you with this voice that people actually will listen to. Go use it, right? So I finally stopped fighting and I submitted to it. But what I can say is all of the nerves. So the reason I say be bold, be fearless, right, is because all of those nerves are eradicated because I know this is not my mission. And this is what I know about God is that he doesn't lie. And he ain't about to let his name be out here in these streets all wrecked with people talking about he ain't doing what he said he was gonna do, right? So as long as I hide behind what God said, I'm money. I'm good money. I just be like, Lord, what you want your girl to do? You want your girl to go on live? Cool, cool. So right before I got on here, I was like, hey, listen, I need you to make sure the words that come out of my mouth get to the ears that need to hear it, and I need you to make sure that it's clear, that it's relatable, and that they can receive it. Okay, so I'm about to do what you told me to do, but I need you to go ahead on and do that part. Okay, cool, 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 cool. And here we are, writing this book. I do not like to write, y'all. I do not like to write. I should probably stop saying that because he makes me do it all the time. But I do not like to write. I'm a math and science person all day. Like, give me some numbers. Let me do an experiment. Like, I do not want to write. But God was like, sit down, girl, and put this stuff together because this is going to help people. And real talk, y'all, I be reading through this. Like, every time I go through this with one of my clients, I be like, this is good. Like, wow. But what I know is this is not me. This is God. Like, God gave this to me. I could not have come up with this on my own. He gave this to me. He told me what to write down. He told me the process to go through because he took me through the process. So the point is, how do you get rid of that fear and how are you able to walk boldly and fearlessly in your purpose? Because it's the purpose that God gave you. So you submit it to him and you ask him to do the work because it's his name on the line, not yours. And when it's his name on the line, you can be fully certain that you're going to succeed. Period. Period. So that is my secret to how I'm able to be so bold and how I'm able to be so confident in knowing that I'm doing the right thing because it wasn't my idea in the first place and it's not my name on the line. It don't have nothing to do with me, really. At the end of the day, he is literally just using me to get to the people that he needs to get to. So, having said all that, what questions y'all got over here before I let y'all go for the day? What questions y'all have for me? Go ahead and drop them, or things that you're wondering, or even takeaways. What has been your takeaway that you have gotten from this time that we have spent together? And while y'all do that, I am going to pull up my website so that I can drop the link for you all to order shirts if you would like to order shirts. Even with the shirts, let me tell y'all this quick story about these shirts. So I told y'all the inspiration from the excerpt that I read was from one of my acting coaches. So back in 2017, I think it was, maybe 2016, 2017, I can't really remember. Back in maybe 2017, I heard a commercial on Pandora Radio, right? And the commercial was like, we have a program called the Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ, and we're looking for actors, models, singers, dancers, blah blah blah. We're gonna have auditions in the Tampa Bay area on such and such a day, right? So I was like, oh, that's what's up. So then I called one of my friends and I was like, yo, you need to go to that, son. Like, you be out here acting and singing and whatnot. Like, you need to go, right? So then, like, maybe a couple days later, I heard the commercial again. And I was like, Lord, I already told him. Like, I already told him because I'm a great friend, Jesus. So I already told him, like, he owned it, right? Then I heard the commercial a third time and I was like, you talking to me? Like, are you looking for me to go to this? Because I don't even have these talents. Like, what are you talking about? Right? So, I wound up going. I was like, I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna go like people that sign up for American Idol and they know they can't sing, but like they just go. So I'm gonna just go, right? So I sign up and I go. And I get in there, and we had to like take numbers or whatever. Well, God had told me, I was like, what should I wear? I'm like, what do you even wear to these things, right? So my favorite color is yellow, and I had just gotten a yellow purse for my birthday. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear my yellow purse. I'm gonna wear this yellow necklace, and I'm about to go in here and see what's up, right? So I get there, and the lady at the table was like, girl, look at you in your yellow, yes. And I was like, girl, yellow made me happy, like the sunshine, all of that. So she was like, okay, well, we're gonna sign you up to audition, or do you get nervous, in front of people? And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm a teacher, I'll be out here. So she was like, okay, cool, cool. So we're gonna have you audition with Carrie. So I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but cool. So get in the room. They started off with praise and worship. So I'm all like, this is phenomenal, right? So then a lady comes on stage, and she is the chief serving officer. She called herself of this organization, and her name was Carrie. So I was like, God, you real funny. You got me out here auditioning with like the main lady. Like, you doing the most. You doing the most, right? So I'm like, cool, whatever. All right. So I had already said I was gonna sign up for acting and modeling, right? So they clear the room, and it's just those of us who are left. So imagine on like, so you think you can dance, like there's a big ballroom or whatever, and the judge is there and whoever is auditioning, but there are also other people that are in there, right? So that's what it looked like. So then I'm like third in line. Okay, so there's a young girl, and then there's like a couple next to me, and then it's me. So they were like, okay, this is how it's gonna look. So we go through the process. So the girl goes up, she blows the house down. She's singing like she just doing the thing. I'm like, yes, girl, get it. So then the couple gets up, and they're like, oh, we in the wrong room, and they leave. So that made me next, and I was like, oh Lord, oh Lord. So I'm like, okay, okay, right? So I get up, and the first thing she asked me to do was to walk. I know how to walk, right? Even though I got little legs, but I be out here on these runways, right? So I started walking or whatever, and I did my model walk, and then I did like a little acting monologue. So then I come off the stage, and she said, what made you come here today? And I was like, girl, I started not to even come. Like, I don't know why I'm here. Like, I started not to come. So she says, she was like, I really need to let you know. She said, I want to tell you a little bit about yourself. You sit in rooms, and you try to blend in, and you try to shrink, and people try not to let people see you. And then they will seek out you. Like, they part the room, and they're like, Kimberland, what do you think? And I was like, girl, this is my life. Like, oh my God, right? So she said, Kimberly, I need to let you know that you are here with purpose, and you are meant to be on people's stages and in front of cameras. And y'all, I lost it. Like, I cried and cried and cried because I started not to go. Like, I really started not to go. And what happened, so to go through the program, it costs money, right? You have to make some type of investment. I ain't have no money. So I was like, how am I going to pay for this? And God was like, you gonna make some t-shirts. And that's how these t-shirts came about. So I did a t-shirt campaign, and I had just done one t-shirt actually, and then like t-shirts kept coming. So God was like, oh, you thought this was just for that? No, ma'am. This is a part of your movement. Like, this is what you're called to do. So that's the long story for how the t-shirts came about to fruition. So this is just one of my shirts, right? So be bold, be fearless, be you. This is just one, but there are several designs and things on the website. So I'm putting the website in there so you all can go check that out if you so desire. Okay, so let me scroll back up to the questions. All right. How could someone set up a one-on-one conversation or meeting? Great. So if you go to my website, kimberlyjackson.com, you can send me a message on there, and that way we can set up a consultation. There is an option for you to schedule a consultation, so it'll take you directly to my calendar. So when you go to discover your destiny, there is a button, and it says, hold on, let me tell you what it actually says, book an appointment. That's what it says. So you will press that button, and that's how you can set up a one-on-one consultation with me. I need you to set up a Teams appointment so we can talk. So Desiree, go to my website, and then you can schedule that time there. Erica says, what signs did you receive for becoming a life coach? So My work with the school district actually led me to being a life coach. I was a new teacher mentor, and I worked with teachers on their teaching practice. So I would work with first and second year teachers. And what I discovered is when I would go into their classrooms to talk about their educational practice and their teaching practice and how to teach, that many times I would show up to have these conversations, and we couldn't have the conversations because life was happening. So I had to help them deal with life so that they could deal with their job, right? Because we all know that if you have stuff going on in the background, you cannot focus on anything. So after that, that's where the seed was planted. And then I came across someone named Tiffany Montgomery. So she's my entrepreneur coach. And she was on Periscope. And she asked for us to do a purpose planning session. And during that purpose planning session, I really just prayed and asked God what He wanted this to look like, what He wanted me to do. Like, this was all when I was going through this process. Like, Lord, what you want me to do with all of this? Like, you're telling me that this is what you want me to do, but what does this really look like? And Tiffany said something about being a life coach. And I had heard of, like, my ideal life coach was Ayan Levanzant, like Fix Your Life, right? So I had heard of it, so I started doing research on it. And then I was like, oh, wow, this looks like something that I would be willing to do because this is something I already do with my teachers. So I actually practiced on some of my teachers, and that's how I streamlined my process to creating this curriculum. So, thanks for asking that question, Erica. That's how. With all the info you just shared, do you feel you are more spiritual or rely on a particular faith background? So I definitely am a Christian, like me and Jesus, like this, right? But I feel like the way, so I do not subscribe to traditionalistic views. So, like the church that I go to now is non-denominational. I have a very personal relationship with God and with Jesus Christ, right? So I focus more on my personal relationship than I do on traditions because what I have discovered in many denominations of churches, we're doing things that are not really how Jesus operated, right? So when I look at Jesus and what Jesus did, Jesus said love the people, right? So that's what I focus on, operating out of a spirit of love because that's what Jesus did. Like he didn't look at somebody and say, I'm not going to talk to you or I'm not going to associate with you because of X, Y, and Z. So that is how I operate. But I'm definitely a Christian, and all of my work is scripturally based. So there are actually scriptures in each module that point you directly to the Word of God. And this is why, because I don't know if y'all have ever heard people talk about counterfeiters and how banks and people who deal with money are trained to recognize counterfeits, right? So they don't study the counterfeit; they study the actual dollar, right? So if I know what an authentic $20 bill looks like inside and out, when I see a fake $20 bill, I can immediately spot it because I know what the original looked like. So the reason that I direct all my work right back to the Word of God is because God is the originator. So in order for me to be able to get the most pure message, I got to go back to what he said. I can't go through all of these other things that people thought and whatever because that's counterfeit. God is the original, right? So that's why my work is centered in God and what he has to say. So I hope that answered your question. All right. So I don't see any other questions. Let me see. I don't really remember word making anyone's words define me or what I think of myself. This I not say that it doesn't hurt, but I don't internalize. I do live by the code. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. By Bob Marley. So thanks, Trisha, for dropping that. So what did I say I was gonna do? Oh, let me drop in my link to my website in case y'all want to book an appointment. But what I was gonna say is I am going to launch this book, y'all. So at first, like I was super skeptical about doing my book because, or let me not say doing the book. I was skeptical about making the book available to the public without me, right? But again, this is something I've been fighting with God about. God was like, there are ways for you to get it to the public without you having to sit there and be like, this is what you do. Because prior to this, I would just meet with my clients and then we go through step by step. So I am going to be launching the book. It's actually going to be available on Amazon. So I'll let y'all know. Like y'all, I got an ISBN number and everything. This is blowing my mind. Like this is so crazy to me. But I'm gonna be launching the book really soon. I just have to go through and make sure that everything is perfect in the way that I want it to be. So I need y'all support because your girl out here about to be an author, dog, for real. Not about to be. I'm already an author, but I'm excited about this. So I definitely hope that you all will be just as excited and really look for a way to tap in because I'm here to help people tap into their purpose and discover their destiny. That is the reason why I was created. So a part of that is making sure that I lead you all in the way that God has said. So Aisha said, "Do you think there are personality traits better suited for some purposes than others?" I think that all of our personality traits work together to suit our main purpose. I think that there are times that we have to tap into different pieces of ourselves for different arenas or different audiences. Um, but it all works together for your overall unique purpose. So I really think it's just a matter of unlocking that purpose and discovering what that is. Um, and Gonzi said, God makes it clear only when we seek and listen to Him with all our hearts. Proud of you. Thank you, and Gonzi. Tanya, yes, girl. Like, we listen, God does all things purposefully. And I know that. All right. So, y'all know I could talk all day, but I'm not. I'm not going to talk anymore because I feel like I'm rambling. Definitely, if you will, share this broadcast with other people so whoever needs to hear this can get their little dose of encouragement on this Sunday afternoon. I will keep you all posted about my book and when it becomes available. If you want to work with me, then I'm probably going to do a group coaching class probably in August. I have to move next month, so that's going to be a lot. So it'll probably be at the top of August, so that gives time for you to truly understand what you can do and what that looks like for you. So stay tuned with that. But for right now, I'm really just here to talk to y'all and talk about what God has put on my heart to talk about and hope that it registers with you all. So I thank you for receiving it. Tag your friends, share the broadcast, send it as a message, get it out there because I just think that this is a piece that we're missing, and we have to definitely know how to operate in purpose in order to make sure that the things we are doing are intentional. So, on that note, I love y'all so much. Thank you. Y'all done hung out with me for an hour. This means the world. Thank y'all for hanging out with me, and we'll meet up soon. I'm not sure if I'll be on next Sunday, but I'm gonna do this more often. So y'all let me know what y'all want to talk about, and that's what we'll be talking about. So until next time, mwah, love y'all. Bye.